Idiocracy. When it was originally released, not many people even seen the film, but nowadays you keep hearing it around every election that this is prophetic, so let's check it out. The movie begins telling us that life used to be super hard and only the best survived, until life became very easy and now anyone can have kids, for better or for worse. For example, two smart people who do the correct option and wait till they have a steady income to bring a kid into this world, which is the correct option for both your sake and the kid's sake, so you actually have money to raise the kid. Unfortunately, that's not really how genetics work, and humans can only really have kids until a certain point in their life, and if you're gonna wait too long, you're probably gonna pass it by. On the opposite side, this kind of dumb guy sleeps around and has this big quiverful family, and he ends up having like tons of kids. But anyways, the plot begins when the military wants to send some people into the future to see if they can do it, in hibernation pods. They find the most average man in the world, Joe, to do it. He's the perfect subject because he's super average and he has no family who will look around if he goes missing. And then you gotta find the most average woman in the world. Yeah, figures. So then the military guy has to do some less than legal dealings with her pimp Upgrade to get her. Joe and Rita get sent under. Unfortunately, the military guy gets busted and everyone just kind of forgets about the two. Which even if it wasn't a big top secret thing, I could also very much imagine people just forgetting about them either way. But anyways, intelligence starts dipping.
The greatest minds and resources were focused on conquering hair loss and prolonging erections.
Well, that's nice. In the future, they finally cure male pattern baldness and erectile dysfunction. On the downside, that'll only help with the overpopulation of major cities. In the year 2505, it's Wally, or India. And one garbage slide and Joe's on top of it somehow instead of beneath it, even though there's been 500 years of garbage. Either way, he slides through the city and he lands through the house of Max Shepard, playing himself. But for some reason they keep calling him Frito. And he's watching TV, with multiple things going on, which is similar to what we have today with TikTok. You can do wet videos, or, infamously you have like top of the screen something, probably Family Guy or Bluey, bottom of the screen a Subway Surfer, or soap cutting, or food related, or something random. Either way, Joe wakes up, and Frito's just upset that he keeps interrupting his story, so tosses him out. Are you sure we're not in Mumbai?
But the English language had deteriorated into a hybrid of hillbilly, valley girl, inner city slang, and various grunts.
That is exactly how people talk, yes. I used to write like that in middle school. Joe goes to see Dr. Justin Long, and he realizes he's in the future. And Justin Long starts freaking out that he doesn't have his barcode, so he can't identify him. Which is pretty similar to modern times where I have to make an account to literally everything, or sign into Google, or accept cookies, or whatever to use any website. This ad with this guy who looks like Tim Allen is kind of inaccurate because smoking's not really a big popular thing anymore. This was made in 2006 before marijuana took it over. I guess also vaping. It is accurate being kind of vulgar because, Frank's Red Hot, I put that shit on everything. Or the effing Easy musical for Fresh and Easy.
And the #1 movie in the country was called Ass.
Clearly, it's a 90-minute satire of how cinema is just ass these days. Clearly, the director is a modern Andy Warhol showing the debauchery of modern society. Showing that so many people will pay for 90 minutes of a still shot of someone's rear end. Clearly, a 10 out of 10 art piece. Big Ass Fries is kind of a play on how food has definitely started creeping up in size, especially in America. Joe gets picked up by the police and he gets sent to trial by Judge Bill Dotrieve. His court-appointed lawyer is Frito, and it goes about exactly how you would think.
You, robbed a hospital? Why'd you do that?
Yeah, I'm not guilty.
That's not what the other lawyer said.
So he loses the trial and gets sent to jail, but first he's got to get his barcode identifier, which I guess is kind of like that one movie In Time where everyone gets like paid via time, and if you have a lot of time you live forever, and you run out, you're dead.
I'm not sure if
You have entered the name Not Sure. Is this correct? Not Sure.
No, it's not correct.
Thank you. Not is correct.
Voice recognition stuff has definitely taken off since the movie came out. And it is just about as bad as seen here of Tom Kenny. Rita wakes up and she's concerned about Upgrade. Unfortunately, she has no money to use the payphone, which is definitely not something anymore. But luckily, there's still Twitch simps in the future, and he pays today for a blowjob tomorrow. You know, I've seen enough big VTuber chats to know people definitely would do that. Joe's second stop before jail, he's got to take an IQ test. Joe in this scene is how it feels to have ADHD in a special ed class. But now Joe has to escape prison before Bulk sits on his face.
I'm actually supposed to be getting out of prison today, sir.
You're in the wrong line, dumbass.
I have to keep that in mind. With nowhere else to go, Joe runs back to Frito, and Frito mentions there's a time machine. So Joe gets him to agree to take him there. In exchange, he'll open up a savings account. Along the way, they pick up Rita. Unfortunately, the cops stop the car. Remote Start wasn't really a thing at the time. Well, it was, but not really as big it is today. They resist the urge to watch the car blow up, which is basically like today people will stop and gawk at a car wreck or a fight rather than call the authorities. They make it to Costco, where the time machine is, and it's the size of a city. The 8th largest pyramid in the world is in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's a Bass Pro Shop. Costco City is not that weird. Starbucks has become a whorehouse, which is kind of the natural extent of how sex sells, I guess. Because plot, all the characters have to separate, so Rita walks off to use the bathroom, Frito gets stuck in a shuttle, and Joe gets arrested again. But instead of going to jail, he gets sent to the White House. Yeah, what's the difference? He meets the cabinet. Completely unrealistic, no. Everyone in this room is younger than 65.
This woman is 82 years old. Grace Napolitano. She 86. Bloodstream full of fucking lead, bruh. Chuck Grassley. He's 89 years old and 5 months. Country is literally being ran by bones.
Funbags over there is the Attorney General.
Also pretty unrealistic for American politics. We have a woman in charge, and no one's demeaning her. People are actually listening to her. People aren't asking why she have power. No one's harassing her.
And that's Secretary of Education.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty realistic. This guy works for Ron DeSantis. Also, yes, he is the stepbrother of the president. You're technically not allowed to appoint relatives when you're president, but people do it anyway.
Brought to you by Carl's Jr.
Andrew Puzder, the chief executive to the parent company that owns Carl's Jr. and Hardee's, was indeed nominated to be Secretary of Labor. And we meet President Camacho, played by Terry Crews. In universe, he used to be a wrestler, which is not that weird. Tons of celebrities have become presidents, not just in America. It's just a kind of common thing because, yeah, elections are a popularity contest. The unrealistic part is no one's asking him for his birth certificate based on his skin color. No one's calling him racial slurs. And he's actually looking for a smart person rather than just filling positions with only friends and family. Which he did, but still. And the reason why he's looking for Joe is because at the State of the Union, his entrance isn't really that over the top compared to most merchandise presidents have, or even this. Either way, a big drought's happening, the second Dust Bowl is happening, and the economy's in the shitter. And Camacho wants Joe because he's smart and he could probably fix it. Downside, he gives him 1 week to do it. On the upside, he actually understands what's going wrong and wants to fix it rather than just ignore it.
Mr. President, the cost of living is too high and more Americans can't afford homes. It's the hottest summer on record and the infrastructure of major cities is failing. Unions representing nearly every industry are fighting for fair pay and better working conditions. Every day, more and more red states are adopting fascist ideologies. What are you gonna do?
Hey man, check it out. They put my face on a coffee cup. Isn't that cool?
So Joe gets taken out to the farms and yeah, it's dried up and terrible. He tries to use this opportunity to escape, but he gets caught. And it turns out instead of watering it with water, they're watering their crops with Gatorade, aka Brondo. And this is because Brondo bought off the FDA, so they can basically do whatever they want now. Which is basically what Elon Musk did to Twitter. And something about corporations own everything, yada yada yada. Everyone knows this and you can't really fight it. So Joe proposes the radical idea of watering the plants with water. And everyone's confused because water is only in toilets now, which explains why everyone has perfectly white and straight teeth. But ignoring that oversight and the electrolytes, they do it anyway. But because the less of demand for Brondo, that means a lot of people are out of job. It was actually pretty surprising the film thought of that. Instead of blaming the previous administration, Joe gets the blame, and they put him on rehabilitation, which is basically twisted metal. He's got to fight 2 monster trucks with drills in a less impressive car. But Rita finds out that the plants are actually growing somehow in a week. They make it to rehabilitation, and they gotta convince everyone the plants are growing. Some shenanigans, and they get it on camera. Camacho sees this and gives Joe a pardon. The day is saved, and Joe decides to stay in the future and help everyone. Not much of a choice anyway, because he finds out the time machine was a carnival ride. And eventually he becomes president, Rita becomes the first lady, and they have a couple kids together. Oh, and Frito's the vice president and has a load of kids. And I guess they legalized polygamy. And it turns out Upgrade went to the future for a sequel that will never happen, sadly. Because this film is both great and kind of scary. The film does a great job depicting a dystopia, not too outrageous. Because Mike Judge did work on the script, it does have tons of really funny jokes and show the decay of man to being way dumber. Even though this future does accidentally prove to be a little better than our current time, because they want Joe for his merit of being smart. And despite throwing around the F slur, no one's really homophobic in this future. There's no racism, and it's not that crazy of a future. So accidentally it becomes somewhat of a utopia compared to now. This film also does a great job world building, showing the corporatism of ads everywhere. Everyone has very cheap, baggy clothes because everyone cares more about comfort than practicality. Even down to the fact that everyone wears Crocs. I guess the CGI is kind of wonky. But even then, this is a fantastic satire that accidentally became very realistic. It's really funny and thought-provoking. Out of 10, 9.5.